Was trying to get this prepped in time, but I didn't end up getting finished like I wanted to. So I am in the middle of the prep. I mean, who cares anyway? I mean, I'm going to be quitting all the streaming stuff soon anyway, so I don't give a shit. If no one likes this, because I'm done anyway. But in case but if you're still willing to watch this, and this is what it is, so the Tonberry Bill. What's the Tonberry Bill? I actually had a lot of different ideas for this. I was going to use the Albinoric head, and I was going to use the... At least let's get to Radon here. I was going to use the Albinoric head. I was going to use a turtle shell for some reason. Then I realized, oh yeah, right, Tonberries don't actually have turtle shells, even though they look like turtles. They don't actually have shells, even though they are kind of turtles. I actually think they are turtles. But no, all they really have is the robe. So let me complete the teleport here, and then I will finish up. Hey, Beast Boy. So, here's my Tonberry. I decided to go with just, making him look like a Tonberry. Big round head, big pokey yellow eyes, stupid looking face. And I got my robe. I wanted to get a hooded robe, but apparently there isn't a hooded robe. This is the best robe I could find that I think worked. And I have my little lantern. See? Turns out there isn't an actual lantern that you can hold in your hands. What do I have there in the offhand? Oh, right, that's for future things. So, and I have my little lantern. So there you go. There's the Tonberry build. Well, at least that's the look. In terms of weapons, yes, I do have a chef's knife. It's called the Great Knife here in Elden Ring. But I don't have one. I have two, and there's a reason for that. Since there's no actual, one-hit kill method, not without using exploits or cheats anyway, in Elden Ring, I decided instead the closest thing I can get to sudden shocking death, which is what Tonberries are known for, is just sheer volume of blood loss and frost loss, because freeze and blood loss, both of them proccing together at the same time, one after another and after another, can be very sudden and sharp, very sharp declines in HP. Now I'm gonna move here while I'm talking. Now, as for why... Wait, can I level up? Actually, I could. Now, as for why I'm using two, because I tried to set this up so that I only needed the one knife, but there's just no way to do it to get it to proc so often that it came off the same way. The only way to replicate the effect that actually came close to feeling like it was this sudden rapid loss of death was to have two daggers. So I am dual wielding two daggers. I know it's not what the Tonberry uses. I know they have just the one dagger, and I know they usually just I decided to keep that at least. There are way better Ashes of War for this, but I decided to just go with spinning slash, because that's the closest thing to what the Tonberry actually does. They really just raise their hand and cleave their dagger really fast, and that's it. But I decided to stay away from any Ash of War that was not like that motion. So it's not like I didn't make any compromises to try and recreate the build. But so I'm not using the best Ash of War, but I'm just using what worked for the Tonberry, right? But no, I had to do dual wielding. I have to do dual wielding two daggers. It's just not going to work otherwise. Otherwise, I'm attacking with one knife, and yeah, sure, bleed will go off every now and again, but it won't go often enough to replicate that. Basically, this started turning into a challenge run when I started looking at it that way. In terms of, and of course, no, there aren't any lanterns. I wanted to hold a lantern in the offhand, But it turns out there weren't any. The only lantern is the one I got on my side, which is, I mean, it's a lantern, right? So it counts. But no, there aren't any I can just hold in the offhand. There are just torches, and I didn't want to use a torch. Horse butt. I was not trying to do that. I was just stopping for a moment, and it turned. I looked away for a second. When I looked back, there was a horse's ass in the camera. Or a goat's ass. I don't know, it's a goat horse. Torrent is definitely not just... He ain't quite a horse, but he ain't quite a goat either. Well, here I am. Might as well get this level in. I know it seems like a weird choice, but there's a reason that will come into play maybe next time. If there is a next time, I'm not sure yet. As for build, this ended up being a way more complicated build than I expected it to be, because to get all my abilities off. Oh right, there's also this. Because of all the spells that Tonberry's used across the franchise, the only really consistent one was any ability where they just sort of like send like a deadly little blast of, I don't know, like black mist ball or something. It changes from game to game, but for the most part they all have it. They hold their lantern out and they send out this little ball of, you know, energy, and it's usually very damaging. I mean, it's always very damaging. I mean, everything about Tonberry is a one-shot kill or extremely high damage sort of deal, and that covers that one. And I didn't want it to be a spell, right? I mean, there is a spell I can use that does that, but I didn't want it to be a spell because it's supposed to be releasing from the lantern, right? And I know that's not quite releasing from the lantern, but still, it's closer than the actual spell. We're not going to deal with spells, not today. Today we're just going to stick with just daggers and the Omen Byron. And yes, I do have the Mimic tier equipped because, hey, sometimes, man, you'll get a random encounter and you'll encounter 2 Tonberries. You know? You may be fighting one, but sometimes you fight 2, so I am perfectly within my rules here if I summon another Tonberry, because you can encounter 2 sometimes. Anyway, that's what I'm going with for that. But yeah, no, these stats were shockingly hard to pull off because, well, Tonberries are kind of like the Death Knights in a way. They have a ton of HP. They usually have an epic crap ton of HP. They have an epic crap ton of like damage, sheer raw damage, even on their regular attacks. If they use spells, and they usually do, they always use the most powerful spells, and they're always like the highest damaging. And these are just things you just can't replicate with like 180 points, right? I mean, I got it spread across fairly well, but again, they're spread out. So we'll try to address that as the run goes on, but for now, this is what I got. I know I really didn't want to go the dual wield thing. I really wanted to do just the one knife, but it just didn't work with the one knife. With the one knife, the damage was done basically like it changes from this extremely high damage, you know, goober in a robe to just some idiot slashing away with a knife. So yeah, we gotta. Actually, that reminds me, I should really switch this out. I just realized critical hits are also a perfectly fair option. My actual knife random slash damage is actually pretty crap. If I could apply blood greases or any grease to an occult weapon, this build would be much, much better and work a lot better. That would have made things so much easier, trust me. Like, that one little thing, I would have been able to do so many different things with this build, but no, you can't do that for some strange reason. So now I'm a little messed up on the regular, on slash damage, because the two, like the bloody dagger and the Frost Dagger, they are based in different stats, which I do not have, so I'm definitely not doing damage on regular hits, that's for sure. But if I could have made them a cult, that would have helped a lot. And no, you can't do seppuku with a dagger. It's not one of the options for dagger. There are bloody attacks, but again, how often do you see a Tonberry, doing blood slashes and blood strikes, right? Or stabbing themselves. So that's just not a thing. Sorry. I did consider trying to create a Tonberry that moved very, very slowly, but the only way I could do that to make them move very well, other than just go like this all the time, like, can I even? Yeah, it doesn't take much before me to start getting into a running emotion, so I'd have to go like this all the time, or give myself ridiculously heavy armor, which is entirely possible. I already have some pieces of the Yeoman set on, simply so I can use Rancor Ornament Bar like with some power, right? But if I do switch to the spells though, then I won't need them anymore.
Are you good and prepared? The festival begins. Before we begin, allow me to paint you the full picture. But now, we must make merry. Oh, gathering of champions! The revels begin! The celebration!
The mic off that whole time. I said a whole bunch of stuff. But anyway, it turns out I can't summon here because I was going to summon another Tonberry, even though I can't summon friends. I mean, I didn't want to summon friends. I mean, Tonberries don't group with other people. So I had to just other Tonberries. Yeah, I was just going to say that I discovered, after some testing, I've discovered that streaming actually does mess with the my timing. I don't know if it adds input lag or delay or whatever, but it most definitely does mess that up. So it's not me, that is really a thing. Okay, come on. I was way beyond where you landed. Ooh, range of daggers. Now, ideally, with a setup, if you're doing a setup where you're doing frost and all this frost and bleed all at the same time, you're actually better off doing this with rapiers. Because of the ant spur rapier. Because then it's possible to do a setup where you have frost and bleed and scarlet rot and poison and all these things all at the same time. What the hell? You know, I was also a little worried that this build is going to suck. Oh, you're freaking kidding me. Yeah, well, we're not getting stuck on Radon, so I gotta move on here. Yeah, this is one thing I was worried about, that this build is gonna suck. And my fears have been justified. Because instead of being able to use a cult like I wanted, I have to use frickin' bleed on this dagger. And I have no dexterity, so my standard slash damage is shit, and I'm depending entirely on procs for that sudden, like, shocking death effect. But honestly, I am not seeing anything. I did notice it when you've got the mimic tier going, and you got 2 Tonberries, and actually, yeah, they proc so freaking often that. Ooh. Oh, you are. No, well, okay, whatever, doesn't matter. Now I know that streaming, there's some lag and delay going on when it's streaming, so now I don't really care anymore. I've pretty much proven it that it makes a huge difference on these dodge timings. Yeah, we just need you dead, Radon. We got to get to the. This is not a first day stream thing. This is technically supposed to be the day 2 stream as well. So we got to get to all the day 2 bosses. Now, the King Tonberry, I have something a little more interesting in mind for a King Tom. Because, you know, with Tonberries also always have the most deadliest spells in Final Fantasy. And I will try and recreate that effect with a King Tonberry. And in terms of deadly spells, we're talking like Holy, Meteor, Flare, stuff like that. Basically, anything that's really high damage and really flashy in Final Fantasy. That's what they do. Whoop. Which is unfortunately where I need all the stupid intelligence and faith. So if I didn't have to deal with intelligence and faith, then I'd probably have much better standard damage on these attacks, on these next attacks. But no, I also had to consider int and faith. Okay, good, you're done. Gotta keep it moving. Gotta keep it going. Go. I know I'm rushing here, but honestly, I didn't really like this build. Because in a way, this is just like doing the Wolverine and the Ninja build. Because they were also... Okay, well. Day 1, historically accurate Ninja was like this. With like lots of bleed. You know, maybe I should just do a dual... I should just do dual bleed. You know, I'll consider that for later. I'll just do dual bleed. That might work better. Or actually, maybe it won't. Because I'm still not using a cult. But I suppose, even if I'm not doing... I can do double frost. I mean, it doesn't have to be bleed, you know. It can be double frost. There's nothing stopping me from doing double frost. Right, because when the Tonberries do the instant kill thing, there's no, like, suggestion of what kind of effect it is. You just die.
Very well.
So I guess it doesn't matter if it's frost or bleed or not. I just want to do double frost and bleed because I figure with the 2 effects proccing like crazy, then the HP will fly off so quickly you almost feel like you're being one-shotted, right? From a Tonberry knife. I'll try that. We'll see how that goes. Because I actually have int, so I can use... So that's fair. I can actually do that. Let me see here. Where are you, Gideon?
Oh, this I can't remember very well.
Blah, 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 blah. Okay, now you've met my obligation to come here. Because whether it's... Well, obviously bleed will be higher damage. Because I do have 50 in arcane. But for damage from, you know, hit by hit, I have actual bonus damage on... I mean, I still get bleed for the daggers. It's innate to the daggers. But it's not near... Here, well, actually, let me check. I haven't actually checked what it looks like on a cult. What the innate damage on a cult. Because maybe... I mean, it's really high, though. It's like 110, 120 with bleed. But the idea with the cult is once you put bleed on the weapon, the scaling with the cult is so high that it ends up being way better than doing bleed. But unfortunately, to do that, you got to use some sort of weapon that allows you to, or some sort of ash of war that allows you to add bleed. And apparently, the daggers don't have that. Oh, will you leave us alone, Millicent?
For bringing here, and thus I shall farewell. I shall leave. I wish you have. I have no.
Okay, what was I doing here? Right, let's see what it looks like with Occult 81. But now my attack by attack is way better. But I lose the same... Oh, what if I can do a blood... Yeah, well, I can do that, but now I'm not using my spinning slash. And these blood attacks are too... They're too flashy for the Tonberry. If you ever seen their actual kill attack with their dagger, with their knife, they basically just walk up to you and they lift their sword high or their knife high and go slap, like hack, like a butcher's cleaver, right? So, and these are definitely not like the closest thing I could do. Like obviously the spinning slash is not the same thing, but at least it's just one firm strike, right? All of these are, you know, more fantastic. But since it's not going to be a thing until I've still got a couple bosses to go, we'll call this a test phase and see how this goes for now. What is something simple? At least this is just one slash. We'll make it a cult. See if it makes a difference. And we will make you also bleed. Or maybe we'll just make you straight bleed, just to keep things simple. It doesn't matter what attack you have, because I'm not going to actually use you. Actually, you know what? You should also be a cult, because then I have full damage. Actually, no, wait. Let's make you bleed. Wait. See how this works. Great. We'll see if that makes a difference. Then for the next one, we'll be trying double frost, because it doesn't really matter how the HP gets lopped off. What matters is that they die freakishly quickly, which is how the Tonberries work. So it doesn't matter if it's frost or bleed. Because obviously the Tonberry, there's no, like... I just went with bleed first, because it's like, well, you know, you get slashed with a knife and you die. It's probably very bloody. But it's not like Final Fantasy has any actual blood effects, so it doesn't really matter if it's bleed or not. I just figured having bleed and frost going off at the same time, the two of them rapidly proccing could, like, create that equivalent effect. Once again, I really wanted to start this at Frost Giant because this is kind of meant to be the day 2 parts of the build, because I'm only doing... Well, I ended up doing Chronos last night instead because you know, I just was unable to prep. I just couldn't. So we're kind of rushing along here. I mean, this is one of the more novelty builds, but it was more closest to Halloweeny than a lot of the other ones I had. And Sister Freed's going to be the same way. She was supposed to be the Grim Reaper build, but then I decided, once I started putting it all together, I realized, you know what, this build is coming off as like Sister Freed. Like, a lot of the spells and weaponry and effects were very similar to Sister Freed. I'm like, well, whatever, I'd rather just do Sister Freed, because everyone knows Sister Freed. It was more fun to set up than just the Grim Reaper, which is basically just boiled down to a certain... I wear a sort of the tattered robe, the scythe, maybe I'll have the lifesteal fists, you know, maybe I'll have some black flame stuff, I don't know, it was just... And then Tonberry came, oh well, Tonberry is sort of an instant death sort of type character, and then, you know, it just seemed more fun to do it that way. And then yes, on Halloween night will be the slasher movie build. And that is the build where I am playing a... This was the catalyst for this was the World of Warcraft Rogue build, but I couldn't really make that work because you can't really backstab bosses, but you can backstab NPCs. So I was like, oh, then maybe I'll just focus on killing NPCs like Slasher. And so that's it. So for that build, there won't be any bosses, or we won't be killing any bosses. Nope, we'll just be killing NPCs. We'll backstab everyone because we are a slasher. It'll be a slasher movie. Okay, come on. Okay, oh, I'm stuck on something. Okay, that's fine. You know what? A lot of these hits, I'm not even hitting. It looks like I'm slashing away. It looks... Oh, you're freaking kidding me. That's another thing I noticed with this. The daggers attack so quickly, and because of the way the game cues attacks, I've noticed that I'll be like slashing and slashing aside, even after my hands have stopped hitting the slash button for like a while, but he'll just keep slashing. I'm like, crap! So, ooh, these queuing up the attacks here is pretty rough with these daggers. Oh boy. I don't care about having a perfect run for this guy. This guy is just, you know, who cares about this guy? Come on, just... Honestly, the damage isn't that much better. Oh, and this guy won't proc. You don't see procs on him, so... Right, so this was a bad test. Okay, whatever, he's dead anyway. Fine, I'll do the Frost proc for the next one then. I'm going to test Frost for the next one. What happens if I just do a crap ton of Frost? And unlike with what I'm dealing with Arcane... Stupid int. Unlike what I'm dealing with Arcane... I don't have to make much changes because I have the int. So I have high int, so I can benefit from having... Okay, so which is the one that's in my right hand? Oh, great, I can't tell which one's which. Okay, this is the one that's in my right hand. We'll have to go back to this because I don't want to be casting any real spells with this, because that's not really what they do. And the kind of... I'm pretty sure... Occult doesn't apply to Frost. I'm not sure if it does. I've never checked that. Plus, it's... I don't want to be like creating like frost clouds or anything. I don't know, that feels a little off-brand. I'll look it up some other time. That's not the point of this part of the test anyway. Okay, we'll just keep it back to dual slash. And wait, something just went wrong here. Okay, let's just see what dual... Whatever, just anything. Well, dual cold. And see if the frost will proc so damn often. I don't need that anymore. We will instead go for... That'll take a big hit to my toughness, but that's okay. I have other sources to protect myself. Oh, wrong way. We don't want to go that way. Wait, where does this go? Oh, never mind. For a second I thought it was another way onto the... Like... I mean, I should have known. I know that doesn't go that way, but I don't know. I saw the way to the... was it the Coliseum over there? I'm like, oh wow, was there always like a little entrance up here to the Coliseum? But no. Yeah, we really don't have time for you tonight, Black Knife. But we'll be seeing you next week. Because essentially, I mean, essentially that slasher flick build is basically just being a Black Knife. Pretty much. So we're just going to ignore you, because I don't care about you. You'll be gone in a minute. Again, I don't really intend to have the Mimic tier out for all these bosses, but until I get to where I actually want to be, which is Frost Giant, I just want these fights to end quickly. Although, he's hitting me pretty hard. Oh, right, I haven't put on my... Because again, where I wanted to start was at Frost Giant, but... Why do I have quick step attack? What's that? What the hell? What's going on? Why is there no... Ah, crap. Okay, well, I can't do this test like this, so... Actually, you know, let's see if Mimic Tier can beat him, just for fun. But I can't do this test properly like this. No, I can't beat him. Fine, just kill me. Come on. Focus on me. Holy crap, look at that HP fly off just now. What the hell? And that wasn't, I know that wasn't the Mimic Tier doing the damage. Because the Mimic Tier is on his ass that whole time. Yeah, kill me. I need you to kill me. Don't kill him! I'm trying to do a test! Wow. And that wasn't the Mimic Tier either. Because he was on his ass. Okay, that was interesting. Why wasn't Bleed doing this? Okay, so maybe this will work. With just Frost. I don't need Bleed. Okay, why is this off? You alright now? Okay, fine. There, we got the right one equipped. Okay, let's try that again. Although that was going shockingly well, even with, like... I know that sudden major series of Frost procs. Well, actually... Well, the Mimic Tier was on his butt, knocked on his butt, so it could have been the Mimic Tier doing that. Honestly, this kind of works better in terms of buffs, because there's a magic plus buff I can use. I can do magic too, sort of. Thus all the int and faith for that stupid spell. And then for King Tonberry, I'm gonna need... I hate when he does that. After the roll, he does that thing where he like cross wheels the... Oh shit, I don't have my... Did I get it off? I don't think I got off. How did you do the buff? I still have the innate bleed, so it's not like this is a like. I mean, I just wish I could get the bleed to go off more often, I guess. I mean, if the bleed can go off as often as the frost is going off just then, that would be like the best. Be the best way for this to work, because then it almost seemed like one slash and, you know, almost dead. Again, for people just coming in who didn't watch the beginning, because why aren't you watching from the beginning? Because that's where all the explanations are. I tried to get this to work with just the one knife, because that's what Tonberry's actually do. They only have the one knife. It couldn't work. It just didn't work. You just can't do that damage with one knife. It's just not possible. Not without resorting to some sort of exploits or cheats anyway, so. And I wasn't going to do that. I didn't have time to set that up anyway. I just flat out didn't want to.
Unable to enter the earth, prevented the thorns, a husk, the only way, and become my purpose. So I'd like to the flame then and guide you. Shall I turn? Let my
yes, I got to put my into. Then I got to put the stupid faith, so I can cast holy later. I'm gonna need to get that great rune while I'm in the area, because Tonberry's also had a lot of HP. So the whole crap ton of HP is definitely an important thing. But honestly, I need more mana than I need. See, this build needs so many stats, and like a bit of a pain to get this one to work. I need a lot of mana too. I'm not sure if I'll even be able to cast those spells with. Well, 95 FP. I don't think there's any spell that requires more than 90 FP, unless we're talking ashes. Thankfully, I don't have to summon any spirit ashes, other than the mimic tier. This is the only Tonberries only appear with other Tonberries, so that's the only summon that's available to me, and that's perfectly fine. What's more dangerous than a Tonberry? 2 Tonberries, or 3 if you got really unlucky. Or even a Tonberry King with 3. I forget which game that's in. I've just seen a picture of it once, that this could happen in one of the Final Fantasies. I don't know which one, though. Are we going to get a horse butt? Yep, we're going to get a horse butt. I love that angle when you run across this bridge. You get the look of the horse's insides. We are going to just take a little detour. Actually, you know what? As much as I would like to have a whole lot of HP, the extra mind is the extra FP will be way more important. So I'm going to have to get Radahn's Great Rune at some point, but not now, because we're not even at the Fire Giant. So, and that's where I really need to be. And even then, I'm not sure how far I'll get into it, because I need to be like day 3 compliant by the end of the night. And day 3 compliant means at least up to Millennium Moog. But I even want to get into a little the DLC as well, because nowadays, because I'm only doing streams more like 2 hours now, I just don't have the time to do all the bosses, so I just, right to Radon. And I actually even got into Radon in the last few runs. But that's because the last few runs were very fire-based, and the fire does... Okay, Mesmer wasn't necessarily that resistant to fire, not the way Rolana is resistant to magic. That was just killer. I had to literally quit spells, but it was still resistant enough, like I noticed. So it made the Mesmer fight go longer than I wanted. Did I actually end up beating him? You know what? I don't think I beat Mesmer with Fire Mage. Yeah, that was the one where I basically just said I'm done streaming, so I didn't care if I beat him or not. And then I came back the next stream and I was just like, oh, I'm going to finish out the schedule. So I'm going to do all the streams as I was going to do, and that's it. Or at least until my situation improves. Actually, you know what? I need this one. Unless I do the skip. Did I pull off a skip on stream? Oh right, no, I didn't pull it off on stream. What happened was I started streaming and I was just in the middle of trying to do the skip, and I happened to pull it off, and I was sort of like off. So it was like one of these things where it sort of kind of happened off camera and you only saw the result. Like I was already in the valley area rather than the actual jump. So I kind of sorted it on stream. But that would save me a lot of time, because I would really... fighting Neil... Null? Is it Null? Fighting him with... because he's one of the bosses I usually just want to get over with and get done with. But I usually need something, a summon or something, to get it done quickly. And that's one boss where it doesn't work, because the stupid summons will always attack the enemies chasing you, and that are just standing there hacking away at the fog door, and will leave you out to dry, or just leave you hanging, for the rest of the boss, to fight the boss alone. So it's like there's no real fast way to fight Null. That's what I'm getting at here. So I very much prefer to skip him when possible. Okay, I gotta adjust my position here. 1 minute. Okay, how's this sound in this new position? Let's check here. Try that again. Maybe. How about louder? Speaking louder. Okay, that'll have to do. Let's see if we can get the skip off, shall we? Nope. But you know, sometimes that happens where it's just like I press to the left and torrent jumps downwards. You gotta jump directly to the left for that to work, but sometimes it'll just not go left. It'll go sort of in a curvy downwards position, curving to the left. You can't do that. Although one time I made the skip, I jumped way too early and it still worked, and I don't know why that worked. It didn't make sense. That shouldn't have happened. But it did. Unfortunately, I can't quite replicate doing it from early because I just don't understand why it happened in the first place. It shouldn't have happened in the first place, quite simply. No, I'm not fighting the stupid frost dragon. I don't think I've ever fought the frost dragon during one of these. Actually, no, wait. There was one person who fought the frost dragon because it was a dragon hunter. Who was it? Was it my ranger? Well, anyway, no. This is supposed to be the day 2, technically, so we got to get to the day 2 bosses. Almost there. Now, Frost Giant... I really shouldn't say this, because every time I'm like, oh, the boss should be easy. It's usually when they're not easy. But this is one case where... Ooh, do I still have the setup with... Yeah, you know what? This setup with Frost is not too bad. It's actually pretty damaging. And I still get the all the sudden... I still get the frost effects, and I get the occasional bleed, so it's not terrible. I'd prefer to be to get the full bleed thing going, but if this is turning out this way with Frost, then I should just stick with it. Because I could do the occult thing or the bleed thing, but with bleed, the individual weapon strikes weren't very strong, and with occult, they were stronger, but the bleed procs were slower, and that's what's more important is the proc speed. Okay, I can't see right now. Okay, let's make some adjustments here. We're gonna need fire because he's a bit of a jerk that way. And I mean, the chances. I mean, don't think I've ever crit the Frost Giant before, so we don't have to. Sensitive timer. Oh, actually. Oh, okay. You know what? That might be why this works so well. I had the magic boost on there for some reason. On that thing, and that works very well if you're using frost-based attacks. And here we go. Poor Torrent, you took the brunt of that. Will those rancor things even reach him? My foot! That's not your foot, that's your hand. Somehow I'm stepping on thorns over and over again. Where are those stupid little flaming balls? There's one. Wait, that's his hand. Oh, that was some fun camera work just then. Ah! There it is again. You get stuck into those attack animations for so long. You can't do anything else. No, move! Oh, good, that worked. I'm almost getting a feeling like he's resistant to frost. I think he's resistant to frost, because I had the bleed proc go off before I saw the frost proc. Nice thing about using proc attacks, I can attack him anywhere and I'll still do the damage. Of course, that's assuming anything procs. Something proc, please. I don't want to have to attack your hands. Especially with daggers, they already have a short enough reach as is.
Okay, nothing's procking. Did I use up all my procs? Yes, there's actually a... You can't actually proc things forever, you know. There's a limit to how often you can proc the bosses. Shit. So they build up. Every time you proc, it like doubles. It's like something like 6 procs, 6 hits to proc, then 11 to proc, and then it shoots up to like 20 to proc, and then it starts to get a little ridiculous. I'm gonna tickle your feet. What keeps hitting me? From behind. Come on, it's almost over. Where are you? How can we? Oh shit. This would have been over by now if these things would proc. Damn you, proc. Why am I getting no more procs? I mean, I haven't bled them that many now. They can understand the frost not going off, but not the bleed. What happened? Oh, you son of a bitch. Well, I ain't doing it all again when I'm that close to beating him. No friggin' way. No freaking way. When you're that close to winning. Stop moving your foot. Yeah, it does seem like it's very resistant to the frost. I thought he was a fire giant, not a frost giant. Although lore, well, okay, not this lore. Oh, I can't get close to him with that fireball there. Yeah, blow up on the mouse here, I don't care. The other Tonberry. You randomly encountered 2 Tonberries. What all the difference it's making. Now the stupid bleed goes off. Shit balls. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, no. Fuck! God damn it. Literally every single time I'm like, oh no, we gotta do this quickly, and I end up not being quick. Ah. Yeah, Torrent, you take all that. You take the whole brunt of it. Oh, come on. What was that? He just decided to just do a little hacky slap, like, I'm just gonna swing behind me for no stupid reason. When I'm pounding the R1 button, like, what the hell? R1 being used post-flask with my key bindings. Yes, I found that to flask for me. If anyone ever tells you, I pressed the R2, I pressed R2, I'm like, well, not this. I don't necessarily have it all set up the same way, you know? We change key bindings. Am I not even broken this yet? Well, at the very least, we're going to give him frostbite on his toes. Of course, you completely block and can breathe, but hey, who cares? That doesn't make any sense. I can't get close to him now when he's over there when he's doing that. If you're completely under him, it's fine, but... I've seen him do that very often, where he rolls twice in a row like that. I've seen him roll twice in a row away from me, not back and forth. the mimic tear helped at all, really. God damn it, that was like, this is the extreme opposite of instant kill. Stupid annoying bastard. And that was really tense at the end. Ah, annoying bastard, that took way too long. But I don't know, some bosses are more resistant to bleed than frost, and some are more resistant to frost and bleed, so I guess we're just gonna have to discover that. But that's why I was trying to do both at the same time. Anyway, I got a quick bathroom break. Be back in a minute. Okay, I'm back. I'm back. Sorry, took a little longer than I expected. Okay, so Double Frost didn't seem to work out too well just then, but none of the other bosses in the game aren't like the Fire Giant, which is kind of almost puzzle-like. So I'm not going to give up on Double Frost just yet. Let's see how it actually works against a more normal enemy that takes normal damage. Yes, yes, Melina, let's do some evil stuff. Let's do the nasty.
Are you to commit?
Let's
Very well, let my
commit many sins. Oh, you're talking about fire. Oh, okay, I guess you like it with fire. You do it fiery. Yeah, not what I had in mind. And then you just, when you were finished with me, you just left me out here in the middle of a storm. That was not my favorite night. And now I'm green and bold. What did you do to me, Melina? No, I'm not gonna let you just slash at me over and over again. Because I gotta get going, gotta keep going. Gotta go fast. As Sonic would say. And before anyone says Sonic build, no. What exactly would be a Sonic build? I mean, seriously. I'd make myself blue and then what? There isn't exactly a roll. Actually, there is a roll dash, isn't there? The lightning roll thing, that's a thing. Yeah, but I don't want to play through the whole game just, you know, doing, like, spamming a single ability over. And yes, I know I did that with the Frost Death Knight by casting Ice Storm over and over again. But that's different from just lit where my entire attack option is just roll, roll, roll over and over again. And it's lightning too, don't forget. So it won't, there'll be some bosses that'll be highly resistant to it. And then what do I do? So, no. I wonder if this... I think they still have the armor or a ring or something that allows you to do damage if you roll into enemies. I wonder if that stacks with lightning roll. If you do the rolling special attack, but then you're also considered rolling and you do this, you know, it's the damage isn't good enough to be worth fighting out. Whatever, man. We're getting into my last streams here, so who cares? But hey, you guys want to try and do a Sonic build? You go right ahead. Okay, these guys shouldn't have any special resistances to frost. And then I'll try pure bleed to see if that makes a difference. But ultimately, I think I'm going to end up settling on having both. A frost and a bleed together. Which is why I went with the 2 daggers instead of just the one, like the Tonberry actually has, just the one chef's knife. Right? But like I said earlier, it doesn't work with the one. The damage is just too low, and it's very un-Tonberry-like to just be slashing away at an enemy and they don't die within 2 seconds. How did I lose sight of the dish? There you are. And of course, since there's 2 of them, there'll be 2 Tonberries, because I don't feel like screwing around here. You get a friend, I get a friend. Which is totally legit. I hate stacking buffs. Now you see, that was fast! Granted, there's 2 of us, but still. Holy cow! You know what would be funny? Would be to have like a pair of like, to get like that worked great, by the way. So the fire giant, iron, frost, fire. Yeah, I covered all the giants just then. So what would be funny is if I had like a couple bleed daggers and a couple frosts, and then I just have the frosts on or the bleeds on, and then I summon, and then I switch to the bleeds when I summon the Mimic tier, and then switch back to the Frost, and just have them both going at the same time. Actually, that sounds fun. I should set that up. I won't be able to do it with the chef's knives because I only have the 2, but maybe for tomorrow I'll do that because that sounds like it'll be interesting. Okay, no more. Now I got to do a stupid faith. I got to have faith up to 71. I can't cast holy without 71 faith. Okay, well that worked great. That was super fast. I mean, yeah, again, the Mimic tier, but still. It was still going pretty fast, even just with me. But we'll see how it goes with the dragon when it's pure bleed. But I think Frost will end up winning out because because when I have the 2 Frosts, I still have the bleed, and I have the benefit of the int on magic damage, and I have the benefit of multiple the benefit of the frost buffs, so the bonuses to magic damage and the mixed physics, and I still have all the bleed stuff, whereas if I just do double bleed I don't have any of the frost benefits. So that might be the way to go. I have never seen the random lightning bolts form a perfect barrier against me like that before. Like, usually they're spread around more like this. Shit, shit, shit. What? Why didn't you jump? Yeah, that's the lag I'm talking about from streaming. I pressed the jump button, but it just didn't happen. Yes, it's a real thing. I tested it. Absolutely, the lag from the streaming is create some sort of lag that causes me to miss buttons sometimes. And it happened in Marvel Rivals too, by the way. Remember when I was complaining about that? And then I said, well, then I went and turned on Marvel Rivals to see if it was happening there. And it wasn't. And then I did it while streaming Marvel Rivals, and it started happening again. Where the R1 button wasn't responding. Like, it would respond most of the time, but every now and again, it would not, I'd be pressing the button and stuff wouldn't happen, right? And Marvel Rivals is a good way to test it because you need to spam buttons a lot. So you'll really notice, like, all your buttons, not just, you know, one attack button. So you'll notice one button's not clicking every single time. And they don't have the queue-up system, right, in Marvel Rivals. So it won't have buttons queuing. So I can really tell when a button ain't registering a press. And it happened on the Marvel Rivals. Well, streaming. So yeah, it totally messes up. And I know that it's a good... Marvel Rivals is a good tester because it also has this little issue with with the frames, all the frames not hitting. Because if you ever play Wolverine in Marvel Rivals, you'll notice that on PC, if you just hold his slash attack button, he'll slash forever and ever and ever, just slash, 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 slash. But if you play it on console, he'll do about 6 or 7 slashes and then he'll stop and then he'll start again, right? And that happens because it's a frame rate thing, right? It's not hitting all the frames. So on a PC with like a really high frame rate, like on 120 or something, you'll nail them all. And I was able to test this myself because I do have an actually 120 hertz monitor, so I was able to turn it on. But if you're doing it at 60, you can't. It won't catch all the frame presses, like your button presses. So what will happen is you only do 6 or 7 attacks, and then Wolverine will restart his attacks phase again. Whereas on PC with 120 plus, you'll just keep doing it over and over. He'll non-stop slash. I can't see. Where's this stupid thing? There you are. Okay. So yeah, so that's why Marvel Rivals is a good test for it. Okay, so now we're going to go to full bleed. Okay, that's my blood. More blood. This time we're going to want lightning, because he is a bad little dragon that likes his lightning spells. And I don't need a boost to magic damage. I'm very curious now to see what will happen if I have myself equipped all frosty, then I have the mimic tier with all bleed weapons. Just to have the two of them going off like that in tandem. Now I'm really curious to see how that'll work out. Not because it's a very Tonberry thing to do. I just want to see what's gonna happen. It'll be a proc fest. You know what? I often don't see this cinematic very often. I think I've ever watched it once. Okay, that's enough of that cinematic. I just wanted to finish my cereal. It was gotten too mushy. Let's see if I can do this without help. I can do stuff too! Yeah! Will that even hit you and do damage? Not really. Why even bother? I mean, Tonberries do it. I have a thing like that where they summon balls of energy. And there I was caught in that stupid attack animation again. Alright, I should really have my damage reduction going. Okay. You don't want to attack you from the front, because you do things like that with your fire and your lightning crap, and your fiery lightning. Because apparently you can have fire lightning. You know, this lack of endurance is killing me here. But like I said, the stats for this build ended up being way more complicated than I wanted it to be. Because I didn't realize I needed like high everything pretty much. I mean, the only thing I don't really need is strength. Everything else I need to have high stats for. Blind dodging for the win. I had no clue where it was, I just dodged anyway because I knew the timing on that attack. Well, you certainly got the Final Fantasy Flash going for you, Dragon Boy. That's what they like in Final Fantasy. You love their Flash. I mean, at least that's what it was known for. Nowadays, not so much. Well, okay, I guess they did a good bit of Flash in Final Fantasy 16. There's no denying that game was very anime. You know what, this fight's getting too close for comfort. And I paid for it. It almost seems like without the Mimic Tier, the damage is like... You know, it's definitely not Tonberry like. This might end up being more interesting once I get more King Tonberry thing. Actually, then again, it might not, because I won't have the FP to cast more than one spell at a time. Ugh. This spell just needs too many stats, man. Now, if I actually had some big-time kill possibility going on with a single dagger, it wouldn't be an issue, but I also need the endurance. Thankfully, I think it's going to work. Well, if I could do a cult and the blood and the resins thing, it would be fine, but you can't apply resins to occult weapons for some stupid reason. And you can't use seppuku on daggers, so I don't have a way to get blood the weapon when it's a cult, so I have to use a bleed dagger, which is why frost is looking like the better way to go, because I still get the benefit of having frost and blood on the same weapon, and I can buff magic damage. But I still need to keep up damage to be like Elden Ring level of like a appropriate level for Elden Ring. I need the endurance too. Yeah, just the stats. Because it's getting kind of disheartening for this build. Like, if I find a build, it's just not fun, or it just feels like there's just too much working against it, then I just don't want to play it. And that's what's going on here so far. It feels like, well, the only way this build is like, it's super cool and powerful when I got the Mimic Tier going at the same time, and then it's like, you know, suddenly I'm proccing like crazy and everything dies super fast. But then I don't have it, and it feels like I'm just, you know, butting my head against a brick wall. Because the damage is so low. But this didn't happen with the claws. I mean, the claw damage is not very high either. But that ended up being my highest damage build. Okay, in the case of the claws, I was able to just, you know, go occult and all that. What the hell was that? Come on. No, not this early. Ah, oh, come on. Wait, is the Mimic Tier already dead? What the hell? boss. God, screw it. I can't stay stuck. This is a day 1 boss. I gotta get to the day 2 bosses, guys. I can't stay stuck on one boss. So we gotta move on. But I'm definitely liking the idea of staying with Frost. Okay, why does it do that? Stupid thing. Alright, which one? Okay, why did it mix up? I didn't even change the daggers. There, that's the one it's supposed to be, even though it's not a good weapon to use for this, but... Okay, back to being magic specific. I need this guy dead fast. Whatever, the timing on that is just... Like I was saying, the streaming, there's a bit of lag. Because, trust, you don't know how many times... You can drink the flask and then dodge before he can hit you right there, but... Not when I'm streaming. When I'm streaming, the timing is not quite right. There's like a frame or two off. Okay, what was I looking for? I just realized I don't really need to use Alexander's Shard because this ability is just not strong enough. I only used it because maybe it's this one or maybe it's Double Slash. One of these like early game abilities actually have a really high movement value, especially for applying procs or procking stuff. It's like stupidly high, and like no one realizes this. Although it may not be. Actually, I think it's double. One of them's surprisingly high, and I know it's not square off. It's like an ability that is not very powerful for straight damage, but its proc utility is stupid high, and you'd never expect it because it's such an early game ability. Wait, if I did Blood and Freeze just then, why did he take so little damage? Oh, I hate that. A thing where he rolls and then does that. That actually slows me down. Here, I can spit balls too. Maybe not fireballs, but 1,000 is okay. Press the button! Come on, I pressed the button! Oh my god, this lag on this very extreme is so annoying sometimes. Oh god, I pressed the button to dodge. It just didn't register. And this time I don't think my poise is actually that bad. Because okay, it's not above 50, but it's still better than normal because I do have the pieces from the Omen set on. I can't get stuck on this little bastard. Come on. This is so bizarre too, because when I did this exact same thing with claws, and that damage was like the highest I've ever seen on any build I've ever done. It was absolutely deleting bosses in seconds. Now I know daggers don't do as much damage as claws, but the difference is not that big. And whereas daggers are significantly faster to make up for the damage difference, so the other thing that's killing me here with these daggers is it queues up multiple attacks. So instead of like you press one button and it'll queue up one attack, this will queue up entire chains. So it's like press a button and you'll attack 2 or 3 more times after I've stopped pressing the button. It's really messing me here. Oh my god, so... Wait. I can't see him! I can't see him! Why did my lock-on just turn off for no good reason just then? Well, at least he's almost dead, but I'm going to run back to the stupid... That was way too shitty. Somehow I think the overall low damage of the daggers is completely nullifying any benefit of the procs, of the high proc rate. Because proc rate is more than just, you know, hitting enemies. There's also, like, the movements, the whole movement factor and the movement frames and weapons, they all have their own proc rates that go into it. It's not just enough to just hit them, you know, and to have the high bleed or frost rate. There's other things that go into it. Like as I was saying earlier, some Ashes of War have much higher chances of proccing or dealing proc rate damage, which is why like a lot of the bows suck with procs. So they, oh, you have the repeated bow strikes and everything. And it's like, oh, I can proc things really fast. No, apparently a lot of those bow attacks have a really low proc rate. Now, some of them are just good enough to be worth it. Like the repeated shot one is still okay to proc things pretty at a decent rate. But since I don't know, maybe because a lot of the attacks have like really high multi-hit values, they really lower their chances of proccing. Okay, now we're gonna do Stupid Face. Yeah, this is going to be a shit show. Low damage versus extreme high damage boss with a weapon that's really short reach, and lack of reach is a killer against Malakath. And with attacks that queue up my abilities incorrectly, like this slow thing. Like instead of just attacking quickly, I get this super slow double dagger thing where he then stands there like an idiot for a full second before allowing me to move again. Like, look at this. And now I can't move or do any attacks when he does that. Pressing the button, but who cares? Actually, no, in this case, I do blame the daggers more than anything because the game keeps proccing up multiple strikes instead of just one. It's never just, oh, Jesus Christ. And then I got that stupid little roll attack where he does this, and then for the entirety of that entire animation, I can't move or act or dodge or anything. No, I actually managed to get into second phase. Well, like I said, this is supposed to be a day 2 bosses stream, so I can't get stuck on Malakath, so we're gonna have to just take him down quickly. I'm supposed to be getting, like, all the way through the final bosses, and I gotta get to Moog and Millennium. Oh, actually, no, I probably won't be able to do any of them. Because, technically, these streams, I'm trying to keep them down to 2 hours now, and even that's a little too much. But I do gotta get to some of those guys. But yeah, this is really crazy because I was not expecting, because I've dual wielded the claws, I've dual wielded the I don't know what you'd call their classification. The dual prathas, or I don't know what you call those things. I never got a chance to heal. I mean, I could have healed right in front of him, but I felt like I wanted to... Well, whatever. I was trying to finish that thought. I don't know that classification of that one weapon with the hook blades? I don't know what. Anyway, I've dual wielded those. I've dual wielded... what's another light one that's fast? I don't know. All those weapons, they all handle, just other than just the reach being kind of short. Otherwise, they're all fine. The claws especially, they're like, I don't have any problems with them, really. I mean, they hit fast. You don't get stuck in long attack animations. If you do a roll, you do a quick slice. I mean, I had no problems with them. These daggers, though, they're throwing me off so badly. I mean, this thing... Like, why would you think that during this whole animation you can't move? Like... He has to finish the animation, or else you can't move. So I'm like, wow, that is so bad. Or that when the game queues up at multiple attacks, it queues up multiple... Instead of like just one dagger slash, it'll do like multiple dagger slashes. So in the end, I'm actually locked. I get locked into these long attack chains instead of just waiting for one extra attack to finish. So, and to top it all off, the daggers are very low damage. And the proc rate is actually not that great. We can't fight over here. This is a terrible place to fight. Get out of there. And keep in mind, this was supposed to use one dagger, because the Tonberry only has the one chef's knife, right? Now, to be fair, the Tonberry can one-shot literally anyone. Why is it so much faster with the difference with using the... I mean, obviously the Mimic Tear makes everything better, but this is like... The difference between the proc rates with the two of us here is like stupid high. Like the numbers... By myself, it's like... I don't know, it's like 5-6 times faster to get the procs. I don't know, maybe even 10 times faster. I mean, what was that? Like, once we both finally started attacking him, it ended up being like... We took him down in like 3 seconds? By myself, I barely got through the whole thing. I only had one healing flask left. Like, jeez. Give me a chance. Oh shit, the stupid Mimic Tear is dead. Again? Like, wow. This proc stuff can be weird. me a chance to dodge. You use a blast, you idiot. Don't we try this? Maybe? Go fetch! And I only do 200 damage. Wowza. It's so weird. I mean, we all know that Mimic Tier you do more damage, but it's almost like it's not like double the damage. It was more like quintuple the damage, octuple the damage when I got the Mimic Tier out. Like, I go from taking the first guy down in like a few minutes to like 3 seconds with the Mimic Tier. Like, yikes. The differences are so wild. Of course, I don't even have any other choice because I only have a half hour to do the rest of the bosses that I'm supposed to do in this stream. So I have to, but I have to beat Malaga, so I gotta do this. Like, yikes, 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 yikes! This is so weird, so bizarre. The way the game is, how this calculates the procs. And with something like the claws, it seems like, again, I told you, that original historically accurate ninja, which was very not historically accurate for the first day, was some of the fastest damage I've ever seen. And I didn't need the Mimic Tier to do that kind of damage. Although, I should say, Big Bonks was no slouch either. Big Bonks definitely did, I mean, well, okay, Big Bonks did like 12,000 damage at one point in one shot. And I could do 5,000 damage pretty much on command with Big Bonks, so maybe that was my highest damage one. God, he kills him so fast! Oh my god, Mimic Tier. Oh, holy smokes, he went through him like butter. In some ways, Malakath is the true Tonberry of Elden Ring, you know? He's the one who has... That's his whole thing. He literally has a death blade. You know? I'm sort of... in deference to the master here. Like, I'm playing a Tonberry who's, well, most memorable thing is insta-killing everything. Who absolutely can't insta-kill anything because you can't in Elden Ring. There really isn't anything like that in Elden Ring. Short of exploits or stupid shit. Fighting the creature that is most known for killing everything. Because it can. Because he can't kill the gods. It's literally, I'm the one-shot type build that is not actually one-shotting thing against the creature known for legendary for one-shotting things. It's kind of funny when you think about it. Although now it's also just frustrating because daggers suck, man. I thought the attack rate would make up for that, but it's so not. I never considered there'd also be issues with just like attack animations being a pain in the ass for throwing me off. And I was pressing the button, but who cares? I wasn't even attacking that time. I literally had my hand off the attack button. I was like, okay, dodge, dodge. Why are you dodging? I'm hammering the dodge button. Why are you not dodging? Okay, well now why is nothing proccing? They're both attacking. Jesus Christ. See? Okay, Mimic Tier survived more than a few seconds. Ross is not going to work, because if the two of us are attacking him at the same time, he's going to go down super fast. And now he's stuck in a freaking pillar. Oh, he teleported. I've never seen him get stuck in a pillar before, but I guess the game knows how to deal with that, because that's a first. I wonder if anyone's ever seen that before. Malakath gets stuck in a pillar. And the game teleports him to the middle of the arena to deal with it. And that did not need to happen, and it only did because of some of the stupidities of the dagger. I just want to attack him quickly and then roll away before he can go into his secondary attacks. But because of how the stupid dagger works, instead of just letting me roll away, he had to keep attacking on his own. This weapon sucks. Daggers suck. I can't believe this. This is so bad. I didn't realize daggers sucked this badly. Oh my god. Oh. And I don't know what else I can possibly do here. I mean, this is the build. This is how it works. And I'm pretty sure this Frost. What else can I do? Okay, you know what? I haven't seen him stagger even once. Yeah, I don't know what else I can do there besides increasing defense. Because it's like, this is a fight where like literally everything's working against me. I mean, you want high against Malakath, you want to be able to hit once, hit him hard with that one attack, and then you got to be able to attack, move, and just keep moving. Like, you don't want to get stuck in any kind of animations. You want to, do exactly what you need to do, and then get out. Like, move in, do whatever big attack you want to do, and get the hell out. That's how you fight Malakath. It's the only way to deal with him. Any kind of sustained attack plan where you got to just stand on him, just attack, is like the worst strategy for Malakath. Even when I'm playing like high attack speed weapons, I prefer to use like impaling thrust or like single one-hit attacks against Malakath. So this is like the worst setup, man. Okay. Now stay alive, Mimic Tier. Because when we're both attacking, we win. Shit. Press the button now! You know what? I should have waited for the Mimic Tier to join me there. Oh good, Mimic Tier is actually surviving this time. No, actually that was one time I didn't want to dodge. Wait, what? What happened? Who did it? It wasn't me. Okay. Probably the first time in this whole run where it looked like someone just died out of the blue from being hit by Tonberry. I mean, yay, but It was preceded by a lot of complaining and noise. Whatever, just move on. Normally this is when I would end a stream, so but I actually need to fit in some day 2. Why is this taking so long to load? That's unusual. Okay, now I gotta fit in the day 2 bosses in here. Ah, faith. I gotta put in the faith. I need points in endurance. I need points in mind. Oh, this build. Now you're wondering why I have so many points in int and faith if I'm not even going to be using this attack. Because it's actually pretty powerful when you got really high int and faith, but it has to be even higher than this to be really good. And I'm not even using it because I don't have enough mind to cast more than once. The reason why, when I want to do the King Tonberry setup, I need those spells. I need the int and faith for the spells, so that's why. Because the King Tonberry, well, okay, all the Tonberries could do this, but the King ones especially, when they do show up, they just cast really high-powered spells. Now, it changes from game to game what spells they cast, but generally it just boils down to whatever the most powerful spell is in Final Fantasy, in that particular entry, they just cast it. Then that's it. Which always ends up being like Flare, Meteor, or Meteo, or Holy, or any of the rank 3 spells. That's it, that's what they do. They just cast them. And that's what ends up one-shotting you. Okay, where's the dagger? This is actually one time I want the dagger. Because I definitely don't want to waste any time on you. So where are you going to want you dead super quick?
I knew you'd come to stand before the Elden Ring. To become not a sad state of affairs. I commend your spirit, but alas, she'll take the throne. I guess our hopes for us. Unto eternity.
Even the Mimic Tier got messed up by that attack. He did the dagger thing, the cross dagger thing, where he dodge roll and then he went to attack, but he was stuck in that animation and it threw it off. Even the AI got screwed over by that stupid attack. Oh, that's funny. So it's not just me. Even the AI gets messed up by it. Oh my god, the reach. I gotta stop complaining about how much daggers suck. I guess I'm just really, really surprised. I mean, I already knew that a lot of people didn't like daggers. Now, I guess I should have had an inkling when I used one. Well, but you know what, that's not fair because there's a lot of weapons that are not that good when they're single-handed. But they're great when they're two-handed, so it's unfair to, like, single out daggers for that. But I'm just so surprised, because I figured that, well, yeah, of course the damage will be low, but between all the high proc rates and the last thing I expected to really mess me up was just the animations being so bad. Like, I didn't really think. I never in a million years thought my biggest problem would be these animations. How many of the animations will like put me into like a lock state where I can't do anything? Like, and on top of low damage, low reach, surprisingly low proc rates relative to what I'm doing. Like, wow, I am so shocked that it'd be this bad. You know what? I want to make sure I get all these. I don't want to waste any of these. Actually, this might be... No, you know what? I can't do that. I was going to say, this might be a good time to have, like, to do the test where I have the frost daggers, and then I give the blood daggers to the Mimic Tier and see what happens. But I need to have 2 high-level other daggers to use, and I don't have another set of high-level daggers. Or maybe I do. I should check. Alright, let's see. Do I have another set of high-level daggers? I have a Reduvia. You know what? That might work. Because, the daggers do so low damage anyway if it's about the procs. Then the other daggers do not have to be high damage. It doesn't really matter. What matters is the procs. Okay, so where's the other okay, so what's it gonna be? You know, it doesn't matter what it is, so long as it's bloody. Cool. I just really want to see how this works. I mean, I wasn't really depending on it to work or anything. I just really want to see what happens when you get the one mimic tier, or the other Tonberry, is all set up for blood attacks, and I have all the frost attacks. Ooh, do I make any adjustments here? Okay, well, we'll see. Godfrey can actually be staggered. I mean, it's a little difficult, but it can happen. I'm not even going to bother trying to do it alone. I don't care. If you think anyone else is... Well, okay, he's not as bad as Malakath can be, but... Okay, now you're all set up for bleed attacks, and I'm all frosty. Of course, it might help if I actually dodge an attack or two. Yeesh. Hey, you know what? I'm going to take more damage in the long run than I am going to deal out, so I'll just swing this back to defense up. Because in actuality, Tonberries have a lot of HP. So I should really be using a rune, a great rune. This just turned out to be a way more difficult build than I was expecting it to be. And in case anyone hasn't seen it yet, there's my ugly face. Ooh, see, I got the eyeballs in the head. I was going to wear an albinaric mask, but then I realized they don't quite look like that. They are turtles, sort of, but they're not that turtle-y looking, which sounds weird, but that's the way it is. Slow walk. Dramatic slow walk up. Yeah, you look so cool. Come on, man. This ain't gonna work if we're not both attacking. Holy cow, this guy can't take any damage. Although the actual damage reduction of this build is higher than you think, considering I'm just a guy running around in a robe. But those two pieces of the Omen set provide a surprising amount of damage reduction. And he's not going to last us longer, which means I'm probably going to have to solo the damn phase 2. Which that's going to be fun. How appropriate would it have been if I died right off the top? Right off the bat, because I was still stuck in a dagger attack animation. Did you see that? He was still attacking. Like, oh my god. Even when the game loads a new scene, I'm still locked in the attack animation. Oh god, at this point it's like the game is trying to piss me off. Oh, this is... Although this is, you know, this is still not as bad as Xena build. Because with Xena build... I mean, I don't know how I can put it. It was basically, I mean, you're just using one sword. Like a single one-handed sword, no special traits whatsoever. And I was supposed to use the chakrams, but they weren't, their targeting was weird. They didn't target properly. So, and they did low, it was like everything was low damage with no potential for any high damage. It was a surprisingly low damage build. Actually, no, not really that surprising when you think about it. When you're just using a single long sword. But I figured because the build was designed around like high, like sheer strength, because that's what she was, just pure physical, because quality builds can get pretty strong. But no, she was just awful. Oh crap. No, don't fart. Fall into his fart lane. Man, I feel like I have to commit myself to certain attacks I would never... See, because of the way daggers are designed, they kind of work against the philosophy of how daggers work. Like, the actual execution of daggers is this whole idea of you move in fast, stab quickly, and then get out. Like, that's how you're really meant to use them. And yeah, I know on TV they show guys stabbing people a million times. I know that's a thing. But the real idea is you're supposed to just go in really fast and then get out. And yet, because of the way they're used here, I have to stand there. Okay, there is also credence to this idea that you're able to evade inside, right? Because you're so close to someone, you can evade attacks just on... Oh, he's dead again. God damn it. Just from being so close. But you're definitely not meant to just stand there and just hack away and like... No, I have to hope I don't get hit and just slash away. Am I dead? I think I just died. Okay. I'm gonna have to do this full concentration because this is... I don't think this will work. So I'm going to stop the whole switching because it seems like giving the Mimic Tier the bleed daggers at the beginning is making no difference. Because we can't attack them at the same time, and we're just going to do this full concentration. And I'm pretty much, well, you know, if I can't beat this, I'm just going to skip them and move on tomorrow because there's no tomorrow, so who cares how I go about finishing up these streams. And if someone does care, well, bless you, but, you know, should have got your friends to watch the streams too, and like and subscribe. You know, because you didn't, well, that's it, we're done. Well, okay, no, that's not the main reason. The main reason is my body doesn't seem to give a shit. It does not want to cooperate. Or it does not like sitting in front of TV. I'm not going to get into that again. Actually, you know what? This is working so much better. Why is this working so much better? Oh, wait. This is what I was saying. Daggers aren't really designed to be the sort of thing where you just run up to someone, you just slash away at them, and hope they don't hit you back. Here spends so much time being knocked around. Well, I refuse to summon anyone else, because that would be against, you know, Tonberry code. I mean, Tonberries team up with other Tonberries, so I'm not going to break that rule. I'm already breaking a huge rule here by... Yeah, it was worth it to stand there. I'm already breaking a huge rule here by even dual wielding like this.
I was doing just fine, and then suddenly, I couldn't move. No, I did not miss the dodge. I knew... I actually stopped. I was specifically pressing the attack button once. But I was pressing that dodge button. I was like, press the attack button once. Actually, that's part of the reason why I was doing this. Because I wanted to guarantee I'd get one firm attack in, and then have the dodge available. But it didn't make a difference. I did it, and I couldn't move. I was pressing that dodge button on that final attack, and I couldn't do it. The game just would not let me. Alrighty then. Wait a minute, I just noticed something weird. The frost went off on him and his HP didn't reduce. Or it went off, but it was, instead of being like the huge chunk of his HP flying off, it was more like just a little bit. I must have missed something. Because if the frost procs are not doing like the 7% or whatever it is damage on him, then this build is, well, at least on him, is impossible, or at least it's not worth doing it. Because it means he has a very specific resistance to the actual proc damage, and without that particular aspect of this build, then it's like no fun. It's absolutely no fun. It kills the fun of this build if there's actual enemies that are resistant to the actual proc damage effect rather than just the the chance to proc. Because at least with that, it's like, well, you can get the proc so fast, but if I'm then being reduced to just dagger attacks, then boy, this takes all the fun out of this. Yes! Or he just has so much damage. Oh wait. Or he just has that much HP. I mean, yeah, he does have a lot of HP. No, he does. Not really. I think he has a resistance to the actual proc damage. Or what is his HP total? It's like... okay, maybe not. It's 7% of... or maybe it's not 7%. The 7% of his HP total would be actually pretty massive, so it must not be something. Oh good, the mixture actually did that. Okay, well that frost proc looked very damaging. You know what, maybe it was just my imagination, maybe just the way things look. I pressed the button! Oh, good, I survived. Yeah, but now oh, good. Even though the camera suddenly... I pressed the button. Oh, I'm still alive. Shit. Twice. Okay, that time, that was the opposite. Oh, I'm still... Wow, this is getting funny. That's the third time I still survived. I was pretty sure I was dead. Was my mic off that whole time? Don't tell me my mic was off that whole time. My mic was off that whole time. My mic was off that whole time. Ah, fuck it. Whatever, I said a bunch of stuff. See you next week. See you tomorrow.